It sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Play guitar, earn millions of dollars. Sounds a bit like a rock star story, and clearly I'm no rock star. So, what's going on? Keep watching, and I will tell you. Hi everyone, welcome back. Again, depending on where you're watching this is either the Ministry of Guitar or this is CMO on Sabbatical. Either ways, if you like what I'm doing, please do like, subscribe, share. Helps provide all the encouragement that I need. And if you're watching on either of these channels, check out the other channel if you have any interest in it. Now this is part 2. The previous week I told you about the story about how my first band got me a place to stay, got me a 6-figure salary. This time I'm going to tell you a related story, but a different story about how playing guitar is indeed a major contributor to me being where I am right now. So if you're on CMO on Sabbatical, basically age 37, retired, a few $1 million in net worth. And I'm not making much of a stretch here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how there is a direct contribution of the guitar to this. There are two parts to this. The first one I've already told you. I've told you about this role of my band and my experience with the band in terms of getting me on the career path that I eventually went down. You can see that in the first video. In case you haven't, a quick summary of it is all the experience that I had with creating a band and managing a band was a big part of what got me through the interviews to help me towards a career path I got into and eventually got me to where I did eventually. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it is a part that many people don't realize. Now, I am a severe, or rather I was, and I may still be, a severe introvert. You may or may not realize this because of all the YouTube videos and of course because of the career path that I had eventually becoming the head of marketing for a significantly large business. But I am an introvert. I always have been. Something like playing guitar was a very interesting outlet because it was an individual activity that you could learn by yourself. You could be sitting all day in your room, sitting and learning. But guitar had another very external aspect as well, which was performing. And the interesting thing for me was that despite me being an introvert, performing on a stage, playing guitar on a stage in front of a large audience was something that really appealed to me, even though I was an introvert. And getting the chance to do that all the way starting off at age 19 in university, getting to do that consistently in university and afterwards gave me an ability to say perform or say be at ease in front of a large group of people, which typically people with an introverted nature would not have that level of ease. And it's not just for people of an introverted nature. You'll have plenty of people that you will meet even in a day-to-day life. Maybe you also fall under that description, where you're very comfortable, you love hanging out with your group of friends, people that you're comfortable with. But if I plonk you up on a stage in front of 200 people or 1,000 people, or if I make you stand up in a boardroom in front of 5 different business CEOs and all the senior management of your company, and then I ask you to be at your best, you will struggle. Most people will struggle. It's a very natural thing to struggle. But the thing I found is that because, especially when you're playing guitar, especially if you're like me, what I used to do is I and my other guitarists used to compete to be the lead guitarist. So we used to all learn the solos note for note, Fade to Black, Metallica note for note, Comfortably Numb note for note. What are the other songs I can think of? Time note for note, Paranoid, NIB, all these songs, all the solos learned note for note. And then what we used to do is we used to go and try and perform them note for note in front of all these people, right? And then you had a lot of people in the crowd, all the regular Indian engineering crowd people standing and judging you. And especially if you play Sweet Child of Mine, every note has to be correct, right? So when you're playing a guitar solo in front of a bunch of people, or you're playing iconic parts, the Sweet Child of Mine intro, Stairway to Heaven, not Stairway to Heaven, we didn't play Stairway to Heaven ever, sadly. Hotel California solo, so many different things. These are iconic parts and you have to get them right. So you have to have this comfort of being able to perform in front of a large audience. And what I realized is that came very naturally to me because of being a guitarist and performing live. And then when I came to the workplace, I was, of course, having a reasonable level of intelligence or whatever. I knew my stuff. But ultimately, what I realized, and I've talked about this in the CMO on Sabbatical series, is that what made a difference is how you're able to project your knowledge, how you're able to answer the correct questions correctly, how you're able to make an impact through effective communication in front of the right people. Not just impressing your peer group, but impressing the people above you and the people above them, and all of that with the clarity of thought and the succinct way in which you can express yourself without self-doubt, without trepidation, being utterly confident. That skill is very difficult regardless of intelligence. And what I realized is it came very naturally to me, and I never felt that kind of fear. Say I was in a boardroom as a junior person, just joined the company, and you have all of these super senior people looking at you, and there are 20 people in line waiting for an answer, and then you have to give the right answer. That kind of nervousness I never felt, because I always felt that trying to pull off some of these difficult guitar solos in front of a large audience was honestly a little bit more nerve-wracking. So this, I may laugh about it and take it for granted, but this was no ordinary skill. And I've talked about this, that I was able to advance reasonably decently in my career over the years. Another video on CMO on Sabbatical over here. And a big part of this was that innate ability to communicate in front of a large group, in front of large people without feeling nervous. The ability to perform in front of an audience, so to speak, because even the corporate world is a performance at the end of the day sometimes. That ability honestly came from being a guitarist who had to perform. And it gave me such an edge. So I know this is not the only factor. There were multiple other factors that contributed to me being able to get to the net worth that I was able to get to after 15 years of working, and all the other things. All of that is covered in CMO on Sabbatical. But the point here really is not to say that playing guitar will get you XX millions of dollars. It's just to say that there is a link between playing an instrument, between performance and life skills. Performing is a life skill. Performance is a life skill, honestly. It had not struck me. Honestly, I only thought of this when I made the other video the other day, five things guitarists don't admit, and I was talking about how making money from guitar or making a career out of guitar is very difficult. But then I realized that indirectly, being a guitarist had influenced my career, and I dare say my life, in a very, very positive way. So which is why I wanted to share this with you. This is not to say that you pick up a guitar and you earn $1 million. This does not mean anything like that. But hopefully this gives you some perspective on how different parts of our lives, and indeed your life if you think about it, different parts are interrelated, and sometimes things have a very positive effects on different parts of your life or on something else. So look into your life. I'm sure that playing guitar, in general, playing an instrument maybe is a positive thing to do, and it's probably having a positive effect on your life as well. All right, this is all that I have for today. I hope this was an interesting story for you. I'll see you next time.